morning, love.
Morning.
A quick one. So many people are having debts and are really struggling. What advice would you give them to overcome them?
First of all, if you have a debt or if you have debts, one of the things you need to know is you are in a ditch or you are in a pit. And the first thing to do when you get to realize that you are in a ditch or a hole or a pit, you stop digging.
Okay.
So to stop digging is to stop borrowing, to stop going into multiple borrowings. Most of the clients are faced when I've tried to analyze their debt portfolio. I've realized that they borrowed from A to pay B,
That's
borrowed from C to pay D, borrowed from E, as in the debts are multiple, and they did not even mind the nature of interest they were picking. All they ever needed was money to ease the pressure, money to ease the pressure, money to ease the pressure. Now the thing is gigantic, and they lack where to go about it. So I think the only thing people need to realize is, I'm going to tell them how alcohol works. When you drink alcohol, when you take alcohol, what it does, it lowers the water in your body. So in other words, you would need to hydrate because alcohol dehydrates. So imagine when you wake up and you've taken a lot of alcohol and you lack water in the body. Taking more alcohol won't help you with the hangover. It's only water that will help you. So I'm comparing it with having a lot of debts and taking on more debts, like having alcohol and taking on more alcohol in hope that you will do away with the hangover.
But it has a way of
No.
Soothing,
It's just temporal. It's ephemeral. It's just lying to you that something is going to be eased in that moment. The only kind of option I would tell people, if they were to go for multiple debts or another debt, it would be a debt which is of a very low interest to cover up what they're struggling with. For example, if I have a person who lent me money and they lent me at 20% and I'm struggling with a debt of 20% interest, if I were to channel anywhere to borrow to solve this, I would look out for someone who has a loan for 15% or 10% or 5% to come and pay off one of 20%. So if you're looking at channeling away to reborrow to help yourself, then you must be looking out for who has cheaper money, who has less interest money to lend me. Otherwise, the rest of the things are normal. And people need to know that when you're in debt, you are at war. When you are at war, it's not business as usual. You can't still live large when you're struggling with debt. You can't still going through the same things you've been doing when you're indebted. So you will realize that clearing debt is more to do with the habits that henceforth come with it, other than the money itself. When you change your habits, for example, the spending habits, you can't be spending a lot yet you're struggling with debt. Now you need every little money. It's like the motto of the largest supermarket in the world, which is called Tesco. They have a slogan which says every little helps. They used to have that slogan, every little helps. So when you're indebted, every little helps. So you want to cut off on the expenditure such that every little helps. You could use a trick of debt snowballing, where you're paying off all the small debts first, the debts with the small interest first, the small debts first, snowballing, or debt avalanche, where you're paying off the debt with the highest interest first. But all this can only come when you check your habits. How are you spending now? The other thing that can really actually help you is debt. The way to do away with it in bits by bits is to also consider now increasing your source of income. You could be having a full-time job. Have you considered freelancing? Have you considered freelancing? Have you considered selling off some idle assets? Very many people are still in debt, but when you find them, they still have they have parked a range of cars in their yard.
True.
They still have land they are holding on to. Sell something. Sell something. I've seen debt I've seen loans which have grown to even go beyond what someone put up as security. Yet these people had the chance to sell before the bank would sell. So I'm looking at all these options and I'm telling people that check the habits such that you lower your expenditure. Look at not borrowing from all over, because these borrowings will come with more interest. And the other thing is to get financial help. Usually when you're indebted, you have a lot of pressure. Financial advisors can actually sit you down and start structuring how you can pay off your loan. Maybe the other thing I could end with is written in Surah Al-Baqarah, which is the very last verse in the Quran of chapter 2 of the Quran. They say Allah won't burden any soul with the task He knows He wouldn't handle. So anyone who has debt, they need to know that they will handle. So as they'll handle, they can look through the things I've suggested.
Okay, I think we should do a live for this video. What do you think?
I think we can do a live,
because I feel it's a really
we can
topic.
expound on it. That is huge. It has spiritual elements. It has the physicality elements. It's multi-dimensional.
Okay.